So, hi guys, I'm so excited to see you all today. I am doing this Zoom for the first time, so please, if I am a little jittery about how this works, bear with me. Uh, the topic was chosen by me. I am preparing something long term for a support group for empaths and a course for empaths, and I decided I wanted to do a 1 hour special event for empaths and and do some hands-on techniques. People who have studied by me, like Shunalika, Meghna, hi Meghna, they would know some of the techniques that I'll be sharing. But it's always good to refresh. And this is a call from Nazish Khan. Hi. Uh,
Hi.
Hi. Um, so I am a therapist in Illuminations, which is an amazing healing center in Dubai. We have a branch in Abu Dhabi and Maldives as well. And this is our ongoing support, as we can't be with people face to face. So we are now trying the online platform as much as we can to reach out. The whole event would be recorded, and so that anywhere you want to like revisit the whole thing, you can come back and listen to this video and understand all the techniques and stuff. And if you have missed some parts, etc., you could always come back. If there are any questions, you will type, and I hope I will be able to know where the messages come from, and will be able to guide you. Or you could straight away talk to me and ask me about your questions. So with that, I am starting. Hi. So uh, I just want to start with a small breathing technique. And whoever has joined can join me for this breathing technique, and whoever is not, it will give them enough chance to come join. So I would ask you all to simply close your eyes. And as you are breathing in, breathing out, you are gently focusing on your breath going in and out. As you are breathing in and breathing out, you're bringing in your consciousness from everywhere in the universe, in the here and now. So all the pieces and parts of you will now integrate with you in the here and now. And that's good. With our energies much anchored, I'm gonna start by explaining what I feel an empath is. I believe I'm one of the worst kind of empaths. Um, I'm the kind of empath who would feel stuff in her body. So as a child, it was very hard. I wouldn't understand why I would get frequent headaches or I would get unexplained body aches. Sometimes these pains would come and go magically. I wouldn't even know where it came from and where it left. And if I am in crowds, if I am in shopping malls and theaters and places which are crowded, it would be worse for me. I would get tired. I would literally feel as if my energy has been zapped out. And my mom would always say, "Your battery is gone down." And it would always be terrible for me as a child. I would really get zapped out of energy quite a lot. The same pattern continued during teenage years. And later I understood, when I was studying Reiki and other spiritual healings, I understood that this tendency is not something which is so weird about me only, because there are so many people who are like this, and they have a name. They are called empaths. So I was like, "Ooh." Thank God that this is not something just about me. Now it makes sense, and now maybe I can do something about it. So being an empath is, there are many types. So some people are empaths who can feel other people's emotions. Some people are empaths who can feel other people's bodies. Some people are empaths with animals. Some people are empaths with places. So if you are standing in a hospital, it's physically exhausting for you. Whereas if you are in nature, it's amazing. So different, and we all have varying degrees of most of these empathy qualities, um, in varying degrees. Like for me, the body is really strong. So I would feel like when I am working with a client, my body would physically feel what they're feeling, and it would lead me to places. And that's how I even became a healer, I guess, because it was very strong calling. So, um, is there someone whose background is a little noisy? It could be a little bit hard for everyone else. They could be distracted. Remember, we are all energy sensitive empaths here. So it's a gentle request, whoever has a noisy background, to please uh, work it out. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, so back to my story. Being an empath has been sort of a curse until it became a gift. So I just wanted to share what I understood about this concept and how I have learned so much and I have evolved so much with the help of the single ability of empathy. And I have understood that it's actually a gift, it's a true gift. And if we really learn to figure out this gift properly, we could be a gift to the universe. We could be so good with people, we could be really the ones who are bringing in light. So there is a reason why we have this ability, and that's why we need to learn how to handle this skill and understand how to hone. And that's why I want to do a full support group just for this. So coming back to being an empath, and I would let you decide and understand what kind of empathy is strongest for you. Is it that you feel emotions too fast? Is it that it's physical for you, like me? Is it that you just can't see an animal or a bird in pain or suffering, and it really calls on to you? Or is, there would be, so you would know which one works best for you? Or is it nature? If you see, let's say, trees being cut off, would that be something triggering, or which would affect you? Or when the sea is being polluted, to some degrees we all feel it, but an empath is someone who would feel it with its full intensity, as if it's not just the sea that's being polluted, it's them, as if it's me. So an empath is someone who can step into an energy field and feel it as if it's themselves, as if it's my own, it's my pain. Even if it's not my pain, I would feel it's my pain, and I would feel it with so much intensity. That's one of the things that we get often tangled with, and that is to feel something so intensely as mine, that sometimes, or a lot of times, a lot of things that we are feeling is not ours. You have picked it up from someone. Sometimes the ability is so strong that I'm sitting here across the road. If someone is feeling sad, I would feel like a jolt of sadness, sort of. And it would be very intense, and I would not know why, sitting in my house, I'm suddenly feeling sad. It would be weird. Now imagine someone who's an empath and has an ability so powerful, and is working in a place like a cabin crew, for that matter. Imagine how that person would be, always feeling everybody's discomfort and their problems. Or if somebody like that is a doctor, or somebody's like that who is in always like a teacher, for example. So they would always have these feelings all tangled up, and day in, day out, it's there. And there would be times when your entire energy would be zapped out. You have no clue where your energy went. You would just not have enough to carry on. And when that happens, an empath has no choice but to just isolate themselves, and either sleep it off, or read some book, or take a shower, reconnect with nature, do something. There's one technique for everybody. For me, it's my beloved crystals that work the most. or meditation, breathing has been one of those things I cannot, I mean, I literally can't live without breath work, and it's just not a normal breathing technique. It's a systematic way of using your breath to cleanse your energy. So all of this combined, we can understand that empathy could be um, something which has to be understood well, and something which has to be, it's like a skill which has not been developed yet. So we need to like sharpen the edges and cleanse it and hone it and learn how to live with it as a gift. So if there's anyone who has any questions so far before I carry on.
I guess I have one.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry to kind of interrupt and sort of stop for sort of others, but I always find it really interesting that for me, I do get tired. Maybe if I'm in a big crowd or something, and whilst I wouldn't necessarily associate that as kind of a skill, it's more often, one-on-one where I get very sucked into, be it conversation or feel that emotional sort of side. And I suppose, is that sort of the same thing, or is that just being sensitive
Yes.
to people?
Yes, so you are you are able to tap into other people's emotions, and emotion is a massive energy field, because we as humans, we are made out of emotions, whether we show it or not. We are all about emotions, and if you are picking up on other people's emotions and your energy is getting zapped out, what's happening is you enter their energy field without knowing, and you read them, and meanwhile that has happened, you have given away your energy somehow to the other person, maybe because you perceived, and this happens in split seconds, so we don't even know when this happened. So you perceive that the other person really needs energy, and without even knowing, out, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so tired, why am I so tired, this doesn't make sense. And it would be that. So in cases like yours, what I do is I ask the person to practice breath work and practice entering energy field consciously of somebody. So when you learn how you are you are consciously entering energy field, you will learn how you will be aware when you subconsciously do it, and you will be aware that you are picking up and giving back something. Does
Cool,
that
thank
make
you.
sense? Yeah. So we have to just slow down that process of you entering the energy field of someone. There are ways to do that, obviously. Um, Anyone else before I move to techniques? I take that as a no. So the techniques that I have, some of them are tried and tested and many healers use it. Some of them are something that I just developed on my own as I was working with meditations and self-work. Many ways in which an empath can keep themselves good, in good energy, and you don't have to there are some empaths who have become so good with this ability that they do not have to be worried about being in crowded places. In fact, they can be so powerful in crowded places, and they could address the crowd, and they could engage. They are so powerful that they could engage the entire crowd with what they are speaking. They have the power to do that because empaths have these kind of abilities. Believe it or not, you can, if you imagine you are entering into somebody's universe, you are perceiving their deepest thoughts, feelings, emotions, which nobody is showing in this world, and you are able to perceive that. And how cool is that if you see it that way? So you can do that in groups, you can do that in meetings, you can do that with friends, you can do that with partners. Because empathy is an ability without which I feel like there was one day where I was sitting and asking in meditation, very frustrated about the whole absorbing stuff, and I was like, why do I have to absorb? I'm trying to train myself not to, but why do I even have to? What is it all about? I don't want this. And the wisdom that came with it was, it's without empathy I'm disconnected with people. It's like, it's like so dark, and there's a blind person with a stick trying to navigate everything, and there's no connection. I mean, I'm sitting with someone and they are telling me something, and that's all there is. I mean, I can't feel them. I can't know the energy behind their words. And that thought was scarier than anything else in the world for me, because I have always felt connected to people and through my empathy. And that's when I realized that, oh no, this is not something which I can ever be without, you know. So once we start to understand the first thing that an empath need to learn is how to cleanse your energy, and how to do that fast. Because sometimes you are in, like, you know, in a party or in a conference at work, and that empathy has started doing its job, and you are entering into everybody's field, and you're picking up on information, and then along with that there's other thing that's happening in physical reality. So everything is happening together, and you have to be very very smart at your techniques. So if somebody does have a very deep, dark, heavy energy, and it's affecting you in that space, you have to know quick techniques to keep yourself good. And those so to start with techniques, first I want to tell you that empathy is nothing. Just before I start the techniques, empathy is nothing but an information processing unit in our body. So what you do with that information is a different job. So for example, I sit with a friend, and I start to pick up on you know, some very anxious thoughts that this person has, and I'm feeling that bubble of anxiety inside me, and I'm not an anxious person. So I'd be like, oh, do you feel anxious? Or I would just ask her energy rather than sometimes in words, because it could trigger a person. So I would be like, okay, where's this anxiety coming from? Okay, this is coming from my friend. All right, now I understand. So what do I want to do with that information is where all the problem happens. So when I see someone in crisis or pain or any problem, and in a split second I decide to help them, then my energy is going to be invested. Or if I start taking pity on someone, that is the worst one. So pity is something that an empath, it's like poison, a toxin for empath. You can't pity. Instead of pity, you have to learn how to use compassion, which is a very different energy, by the way. And these are some topics which I will be able to discuss more when we do our support group later. And I'll announce about that support group in the regular Facebook, Insta, and other places to Illuminations. So when you perceive that somebody is going to really need your help, and without your help, they're not gonna be okay, and I have to do something about it. And when you feel that crisis in you, that's when your energy starts to get zapped out. So one of the biggest things you have to learn is how to process the information that you are getting. And remember, there is, uh, in spirituality, we understand that we as humans are not just, our time on the physical plane is limited, but on the spiritual plane, we are infinite, we are limitless, we don't die, we are eternal. And if my friend has been struggling from anxiety, and I'm helping in my own way and capacity, and perhaps this is not a friend, this is a stranger sitting next to me on a flight, and there is all this anxiety, and I'm like constantly sending energy, I have to also ask, is this gonna help? Is this person in right now, is this person in the right frame of energy to even understand that there is something wrong, and I'm giving something, and they have to they might, this might be something that can help them. Because if I give up my whole energy and it's just a patchwork for them, and eventually because their own internal demons are so strong that there's more from where that anxiety came from, then I gave up my energy, and I do this every day for every person, then and it's not helping in the bigger picture, so there's no point. So we have to understand where we have to invest our energy, in what way, and how to use these gifts properly. So before you decide or jump into that decision to help someone, it is very important to understand that you want to help, but you want to do this in a way that is more sustainable, long lasting. So you have to do you have to improve your reading skills really well. And you have to, first thing that an empath has to understand is that not every thought, feeling, and emotion that you feel is your own. And I would go as far as to say that maybe more than 90% of that is not your own. So a lot of things are just coming from all places and situations, and all these sensations, emotions, energies, and thoughts could be coming from different places. So one of the tools that I learned, and this is a tool from a modality I practice called Access. This tool is called Who Does This Belong To? So it sounds ridiculous first time when I heard about this tool, and it gave me some really ridiculously amazing, I would say, results. So it's a very simple tool, and before you start to cleanse yourself, maybe it's a good idea to ask if some of the stuff that you're feeling is yours or not. And this tool is a verbal tool. It is very easy to use. What you have to do is just close your eyes and continuously repeat, who does this belong to? And as you do that, you will start to feel as if a lot of stuff is moving in your energy field and going to God knows what. Some people's faces may flash, or events may flash, or you may just somehow feel lighter. How it works is how it works. I don't want to question how it works. I just know that it works. So I would ask you to practically do this with me. Close your eyes and chant with me. Who does this belong to? 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 All right. So, if you are carrying any diary or something to write down, you may write this down as something that you can do. You could do this even in public places. You could ask this question wherever you are within yourself. Um, One of the times that I like to ask this question is either when I'm meditating, and for an empath, meditation is a must. Without it, it would be very hard to replenish and restore and bring about positive energy back. So because we do invest our energies a lot in reading everything around us. So this tool is one of the simplest ones that I use. I'm gonna move. Hello.
Hi, hello. Sorry for being late.
Hi. That's okay. This is going to be recorded and being played again, so I'm pretty sure you can catch up with whatever you lost. So I am moving to technique number 2 that I have for you guys today, and if you write these things down, it's gonna be helpful. So if you have your phone or your diary or something where you can write this down. So my second technique of choice is called white light technique, and everyone who has ever done Reiki 2 with me knows this technique. So I would ask you to do this practically with me again. This technique is amazing at cleansing your aura and your body of any and all external energies. If something is not very if something is not very aggressively stuck to you, this technique is pretty much going to clear everything for you. Only the ones which are very aggressively stuck to you, which we like to call something which is not something you absorb, but more of something that came onto you. So those ones would be there are different ways to cleanse those, and they have hardly anything to do with empathy. So I would ask you to close your eyes, and I would ask you to just breathe in, breathe out. And as you're breathing in, breathing out, you're letting yourself relax. Breathing in, breathing out. In the here and now, you're relaxing. Imagine that there is this brilliant white light falling from the sky right above you, covering you from head to toe. It's a really nice, beautiful, soothing white light. As the light is covering you, just repeat this command in your mind. All energy is in me, not mine. Please release in the light. Only my pure and positive energy stays with me. Anything and everything that needs to move to the light will simply move to the light. I can physically feel some of you releasing really well into this. And now, let the white light go and come back to me. And that was my technique number 2, something that came to me while I was meditating once. I love this technique, and ever since then I've used this so many times in all the sessions that I do and all the teachings that I do. I teach this technique to my students and ask them to use it regularly because it is very simple, very easy, works like magic. So the command, if you ever want to write down, is all energies in me, not mine. Please release in the light. Only my pure and positive energy stays with me. So you imagine the white light, you do the command, and you let the white light go, and you are good as new. Takes a very little time and works beautifully if you are especially somewhere in nature. One of the ways in which I like to cleanse myself is during the full moons. Some of my students have sometimes come with me into the beach, and we have done a lot of fun on the full moon. And so what we do is, you can pretty much go anytime, honestly, but full moon is this beautiful ceremonial period where universe has like opened this window of abundance, and it's like falling, and I could feel the tiny particles sort of like entering my energy stream during that time. And I behave like a maniac who's drunk on something very high and feeling really energetic, and I keep doing sessions after sessions because the energy does not replenish, and it's so good during that time. So full moons are, you can safe to say, one of my favorite times of the month, and so glad to have it once every month actually. So what you do during full moon is you can choose to go to the beach. Some beach is my favorite place because I like to call it moon charged water, because every drop of water there has been in that silvery light of the moon, and something about that combination is amazing and full of magic and miracles. So I like to go during that time. My favorite time is somewhere where the sun would be setting and the moon would be rising, where there's still light, but you can still see the moon, and it's mesmerizingly beautiful, and you have almost an hour of light around that time, where you can be in the beach, be in the water, play in the waves, and ask the waves to wash away all the things that's not required. Anything and everything I'm ready to release or is required to release, I let go, let the waves wash it off. With that simple command, I just play in the water and allow the water, the salty water, moonlight, salty water to wash me. And when it's dark, I simply stay by the beach, letting the moonlight be absorbed and asking the moon energy to work with me and download and manifest things. Um, One of the greatest places to be at is beach, if you ask me why, because the salty water has something about it that takes away all these absorbed energies that we have as an empath. And if you do that with intention, it works like so many thousand times more. You would be doing that without intention and still feeling good about the whole experience, but imagine if you do that with intention. And a human intention is a very powerful entity. It can do anything if you put your mind to it. So if you go to the beach with an intention that now I'm going to cleanse myself of anything that's come to me, or anything that I absorbed, or anything that's even within me that needs to be cleansed and gone, and I'm done with it, it's not required, it's not resonating with love and light, I will let it wash away. And you will see the magic that when you do that, for me, if once I come out of the beach, I'm not all energized, I'm actually feeling very very tired at that time. It's as if, a person who's been carrying a load, and then the load is gone, and you're like, oh, that's good, now I want to relax. So I would just sit and relax for a while under the moonlight, and just probably do some reiki, keep my diary, write any inspiration I get. So full moons are your time to keep a track of full moons, do meditations, go to the beach, go to the nature, and specifically ask for cleansings. For the ones who consider themselves as empath, specifically ask for cleansing. It's amazing, it works beautifully. You have cleared tons of stuff and you feel so good after a period of time. Because of regular cleansings, you become so good at it that you don't have to do it so much, because your energy is naturally moving in waves. And it moves like this, and things are like, it just goes off, like it comes and out. It takes split seconds for me to move energies out now, because of doing it regularly over and over again. I have become like that. So it's something which is very achievable. That must be my technique number 3, if I guess. So the first was the command, who does this belong to? The second is a light, and the third is beach, my favorite place in the world. um, Now I move to something which is a little different in nature. Now there are certain techniques which are very common, and you would hear everybody speaking about it. So I would just brush up on those as well, uh, like your good old sage or Palo Santo or any sort of smudging. These are like your go-to techniques, especially indoors. So you can cleanse your house, because let's say you had a party in your house, and now being an empath, you can feel everybody's imprints in the house. Now what do you do? So you have to sage, or there are many ways to smudge. Sage is one of the ways. You could use Palo Santos, but just to inform you, for especially those who are nature empaths, not all Palo Santos are coming from very good source, because of the high demand, they are literally deforesting and stuff, and that's not something nice. So try and get Palo Santos from the right sources, where the tree has aged to a certain number of years and it's ready to now contribute. And just check the source of people who are doing it. Just don't blindly buy every Palo Santo you get, but try to source it, even if you have to pay a little extra. But there are tons of other things which do not cause deforestation and are great at smudging. Your good old incense stick is good. Bay leaves are amazing. Cinnamon, uh, frankincense, it's so amazing. You can use frankincense and oud. So all these things are good, and you can use the smoke with an intention of cleansing your space. So every time I'm using the smudge, what I'm doing is I'm always praying that universe, dear God, angels, can you please cleanse my space, my house, or my office or therapy room of anything and everything that needs to go, and bring back a lot of love, light, compassion, abundance, healing energy over here. So, and after the smudge, I would physically feel the space within seconds have changed its energy to better. And that's just with an intention, which is good. So apart from sage or other forms of smudging, one of the things that most healers would tell you is salts. So salts are amazing, be it salt lamp or Himalayan salt, bath soaks and stuff. So what you do is you can either dip your feet in salt water, or you could go in a bathtub filled with salt water, add your choice of essential oils. I personally love peppermint. Like, I can't have enough of it, but I understand that so many people have their own choices, and you might want to like sandalwood, or you might want to do rose, geranium. All of them are amazing. So you can create a bath with an intention of cleansing your space, and you could also add crystals to that bath, because it's a bath, it's very water energy again. So maybe you want to use water crystals like rose quartz, aquamarine, moonstones. You should not drink any water which is being immersed in crystal directly. It's supposed to be indirect, so a lot of people don't know this. So just on a side note, never directly put crystals in water and drink it. If you ever notice, the bottles that are given, they always have that they have a layer covering the crystals, and then you fill the water in. So having great baths with an intention of cleansing your space is one of the most amazing and fun ways to cleanse your space. You would feel so good, and most empaths are doing it even without knowing that it's helping them. Some people are like, oh, I'm zapped out of energy, let me just go take a bath and dip in and just feel good about it. While taking shower, you could stand under the shower closing your eyes just for a minute or two. If you have any form of dizziness issue, don't do this, or sit down and do this, don't stand and do this. Just closing your eyes and taking a minute to imagine that the water is also filled with a lot of light particles, and these light particles are cleansing not just your body but your energy centers, your aura, your emotional body, your thought body, your astral body, your physical body. Everything is getting cleared, and while it's getting cleared, it's draining down it's draining down and going to Mother Earth. And never be worried about sending bad stuff to Mother Earth. Just like when you, let's say, eat a fruit and the skin goes to Mother Earth, and it's rubbish for us, but for Mother Earth, that's like she will use it to become even more fertile. So Mother Earth has a way to take in negative heavy energies and convert it somehow into light. That ability is called transmutation, and Mother Earth is amazing at it. Even if you have aches and pains in your body for some reason, whatever reason you have it, you could intend physically to feel that you're sending that pain down to Mother Earth, and Mother Earth will absorb it and you will feel amazing. You could do this even while taking a walk. That if you ever feel a pain somewhere and you are taking a walk, you could ask Mother Earth to take that energy and intend for it to be going down as if it's absorbing it. You would feel great. It's amazing. So yeah, coming back to bathing, so these are some techniques with water. If you don't want to take a full-on shower, or if you don't want to dip in the bathtub for whatever reason, you could take a bucket of water, fill it with salts and your choice of oils, dip your feet in it, close your eyes, put a soothing music and stay there, just intending that you are now cleansing it all off. So that's with bathing. Salt lamps are very interesting sort of a tool, I would say. If you see my salt lamp, I specifically really worked hard to keep this visible for you guys. This salt lamp is basically like shaped like a bowl, and I have placed many crystals over it. So this is my choice of salt lamp because this salt lamp is constantly radiating. It's cleansing the energy and constantly radiating light through the crystals, which then spreads in the space and is very, very powerful. And even if I sometimes feel like I have absorbed something, or I am feeling like I need to cleanse myself, all I have to do is just switch this salt lamp on, close my eyes, and focus on the energy of the crystal's light, and I feel as if it's all gone. And it happens so fast. Trust me on this. So all the techniques that I do are fast because some of my students know this, or all of them know this, that I'm very lazy and I don't like to spend forever doing things. If it takes a lot of time, I lose interest. So, these are all techniques which are quick. That's why.
Nazish, one
Quick.
question. Is
Mhm.
it okay if I can ask one question?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So the salt lamp, does it have to be very near to you, or you can just place it anywhere in the room and
Anywhere in the
it'll?
room, and anywhere in the room. So let's
Okay.
say there is one specific day you had a really terrible day, God forbid, and then you come
Yeah.
back and you are like in so bad mood. So keep it near your, keep it next to you when you sleep, with an
Okay.
intention that overnight cleanse me. But on other
Okay. Great.
days, it's totally okay to be kept anywhere else.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks.
All right. Anyone else has any question? I feel like I kept going on and on and on and on. No, I continue.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right. Okay. So, moving back to tried and tested techniques of the healers. One of the techniques that really work well with almost anybody I know is use of sound vibrations, and be it sound healing, singing bowls, be it beating of the drum. If you have never tried beating a drum, please go on Amazon, eBay, wherever, buy a drum and just beat it to any rhythm, and it doesn't matter. It's like so amazingly cathartic, and it's like it completely shifts your energy. It's within 3 minutes at the max. I don't know if you have neighbors who don't like sound. But it's so good, honestly. Listening to the drum beat is one thing. You could do that on YouTube, but I do find in person is always better. But you yourself beating the drum and losing yourself in the rhythm is so good, and it's so good. So I would say try that, or try your hands at any musical instrument and pour your emotions, your energy in it, and you will feel very cathartic. Another way, if you are not into instruments, or for whatever reason you don't have them, uh, is the instrument in our body, which is our throat chakra. And for whatever reason, it's been an amazing tool to cleanse your space. Now there are mantras which are specifically amazing at cleansing your space, but rather than going into really that sort of like high funda stuff, which is complicated right now, it will be easier to start with something as simple as Om, as simple as Om. So all you have to do is, I've been speaking forever. One sec. Yeah. So one of the things that you can do is close your eyes, and I like to place my hands in any mudra of my choice. But if you are an empath, this is your mudra. This is a really good mudra. So this is called chin mudra, and the index finger and thumb are touching together, 3 fingers straight. A lot of people do this, but I somehow feel the energy doesn't move as good if it's like this. I find it more powerful if the fingers are outstretched nicely. It could be facing down or up, that's all right. And placing your hands in chin mudra, um, closing your eyes, focus your entire, we're going to do this practically. So focus your entire energy on your body, focus your entire attention on your body. Feel everything in your body, whether it's good, bad, heaviness, anything, etc. So just sort of feel all the shifts in your body. If there's any heaviness, any pain, if you are having any emotion which you don't like, focus on something which you can feel, which you want to get rid of, perhaps. and taking a deep breath in, pour all your emotions out as you chant. You want to stretch it as much as you can. So when you consciously with intention to cleanse something out of your body, your space, your life, use a chant and chant it. It starts to do what you asked. Om is a very powerful mantra, so you could stick to that, or you could choose any mantra that you like and chant it. Keep it simple, keep it easy, keep it short and sweet, and at the same time, just don't do anything with an intention of seeing results. We get trapped if we do that, because we put a sort of, let's say, okay, I'll see if it works. And then even if it works, you're like, it could be by chance. And if it doesn't work, this is all. So doubt is a very bad thing. Never try to validate your experience with anyone else as well. I tell this to my students as well. Like when they do first time when they're doing their chakra reading in Reiki level 1, I tell them don't check with each other. Whatever you got, honor it. So even if something worked for you, honor it. If it didn't work for you, honor it. But do not try to cross reference and validate, because it creates doubt, and doubt is bad thing. It's one of the most annoying of the emotions, and it is not even close to rational thinking, please. So hello. Okay. Whoever is this, I can hear you, but not so clearly, and seems like somebody's singing, but I can't be sure. Anyway, so moving on, I have some time left and some techniques left. One of the to-go techniques of any healer when it comes to especially the ones who work with crystals, amazing energies, I can tell you. If you have black tourmalines, I would advise you to not buy the teeny tiny ones, but go look for big ones like 1 kg, 2 kg rocks, and keep them in your house. I love, like big sizes of rocks, because especially when it comes to black tourmaline, because what you do is you have to like place your feet on it and close your eyes and ask the rock to simply take the energy. And when you do that, I don't want to boast a lot, but black tourmaline is one of the most amazing crystals. It has the power to take on, absorb all the negative stuff, and then it can send it back to the universe, to the light, and to the earth, wherever those required. The crystal has so much intelligence to do that, very easily. Back in the days when I used to practice in India, we used to keep a 2.5 kg black tourmaline rock. I think it's still somewhere back home. It's too heavy to carry around, so it's still there in India. And there were some clients who would be like sometimes crying a lot and very, very, or maybe too angry, too upset to even listen to reason. And if you want to like do some work and make them calm down or ground before they have to start anything or leave, I would ask them to like hold the rock just for max 2 to 5 minutes. And really, it has never failed me. And I'm talking with many clients. It's not just a one-off. And the clients were like, they didn't know what crystals are, and they would like hold it and would be like, what is this? It's so good. So yeah, if you know that you are a sort of an empath who picks on a lot and gets zapped out a lot, you would want to have a big rock. Ouch. One sec. Oh, my throat got all dried out. Maybe I'm talking too much and you guys are not talking a lot. All right. So back to, sorry, back to black tourmaline. Try to find a rock which is big. I don't know what happened. Something happened. Okay, so another crystal which is amazing, if I can, it's this one. It could be shaped like this in the form of spirals, or it could be like this. Looks like a candle. A lot of people think it's a clear quartz, but a clear quartz looks very different from these. So clear quartz is it has, like, you know, some places which are very clear like a glass, and some places which looks like ice, whereas selenite wand looks like you know, it has a very candle waxy look. Now this is my choice of crystal when it comes to pulling out something that I absorbed in my body, and as I said, I usually take on in my body. So what I do is, and I have asked many of my students and clients again to, you know, absolutely have a selenite wand. So I try not to practice this on someone else, because it takes a lot of practice to work on others when it comes to this wand, but practice it on yourself. So don't do it on others. All you have to do is, let's say you are feeling a headache. So you just have to locate where the headache is. Let's say I'm feeling it's my ear. So I would just place it here, and I don't touch it. It's far away. It's not touchy. It's a little bit away from the body on the aura. I'll close my eyes and I'm going to ask the selenite wand to just simply cleanse my energy, and I will feel it pulling away that whatever that is. Is it a sensation, a pain, an emotion? And you could cleanse your chakras with it as well. You could place it on your chakras, close your eyes, and the wand has intelligence, the crystal has intelligence, but it has to be a one-sided pointed wand, so for the best results. It is one of my the most favorite crystal, selenite, and I ask people to, especially if they have done Reiki 3, to have it. So all you have to do is place it on your chakras, close your eyes. You have to do it in a very meditative way, and it will start to do its magic. Other crystals which are good, so if you feel like you are constantly getting zapped out of energy, just in case if that's happening too much and you get tired a lot, you would want to wear a citrine or a tiger's eye on you, or a pyrite. So getting an A grade pyrite as a jewelry could be a little hard, but citrine and tiger's eye are easily available. So you would want to try and wear those crystals when you go around, and if you wear them with silver, the power of crystal will enhance. If you wear them with gold, the power will go down. So certain crystals which have too much energy, which can make you dizzy, so you can wear them with gold. So gold will make the crystal's power a little balanced, so it won't make you like dizzy. And some crystals where you have to enhance the power, so wear it with silver. And the usual jewelry of crystals, they come in these kind of strings, which are basically neutral, so they are fine. So that's that. Another crystal which I really like when it comes to being an empath is rose quartz. Most people will say rose quartz is about attracting love, and it's true, it is about attracting love, but it's also about attracting it's also about self-love. So if I am vibrating with love, light, and compassion, when I process the information about other person, I will not pity. So rose quartz teaches us how to use compassion, and that's why I consider it to be a very good teacher. So a crystal which I have used less than others, to be honest, but nevertheless still close to my heart, is rose quartz. Just like a lot of people, I use rose quartz to attract my soulmate when I was back in the single days, and I had a twin heart, and I bought it with an intention that it will help me attract my soulmate, and I would keep it on the altars, and I would practice Reiki and stuff, and I would keep the crystal in good shape. And one day, one of my very regular clients accidentally broke it, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Listen, if this manifests my soulmate, you're off the hook, or you're buying me a new one." So she was like, "Oh dear universe, get her soulmate." And I literally, that crystal broke, and the guy who I married came in my life in like a week's time or so. It was very, very, very fast. And so it made me believe that it works. Anyway, so rose quartz, if you wear rose quartz, it will help you. It will teach you how not to pity, how not to see people in problem and look down as something which is like such a bad thing, but in fact see them as someone who has power and potential to come out of whatever mess they are in, and see them as strong, powerful beings who can hold their own and do the right thing. And when you look at them with that faith, you somehow create it, believe me or not. So that's that. There's very little time left, and I may have shared a lot of techniques. And as I said, I am planning to hold a support group for empaths where the empaths would come together just like this, perhaps once a week, and we can all sit and talk and share stories, and try to understand how to do this better together, and how to enhance our skills and how to do better in any area of life that we are in. So, and I would be very happy to learn from you as much as you would learn from me. That's the goal of creating this support group, and the rest of the information will be available on social media. And if there's any questions, doubt, or concerns, anything that you have to tell me, I'm here.
Hi Nazish, Meghna here.
Hi, Meghna.
How
How
are
are
you?
you?
Good, thanks. I just wanted to ask the essential oil that you were talking about. What is it called? Palo Santo?
No, but peppermint.
No,
The
the
one
other
the
one.
one.
There was another one. You spoke about frankincense, peppermint, and there was another one.
Was it essential oils? You sure? Or was it smudging?
I think it was an essential oil which you mentioned, if I'm not
It's
mistaken.
for smudging. The Palo Santo, you said it should be
Oh,
pure. The wood should be raw, no?
is it wood?
Yeah.
Certain age. Yeah, it's a wood.
Okay. I thought it was essential oil. Sorry. Okay, I'll look up.
Essential oil, just choose the one you really like to smell. That's probably the one you need.
Yeah, okay.
So
So for
just go by the.
smudging,
For smudging, sage, Palo Santo are the usual ones. You have frankincense, you have normal incense sticks, you have bay leaves, you have what is it called again? Cinnamon.
Okay.
These are good smudges, very good smudges.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks, Nazish. Nice to
Thanks.
hear from you again.
Me too. I missed you, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks.
Anyone else with any questions?
Is it good or is it bad?
I am having a lot of difficulty listening clearly to whoever you are. Sorry. Hello.
Places.
I'm trying really hard, but it's very hard to focus on. Certain people have a very weak line, I guess. So it's very hard to make sense. Are there any? Okay. I'm so sorry. It's not very clear, so I'm not able to hear properly. But I'm gonna close the session, and I hope I gave you something valuable in this hour, even if it was for a minute. And it's always really, really, really. I feel myself very fortunate to do this, and I am very thankful to people who receive this. There's so much that I want to give, and the ones who receive, I feel very happy to do that, and it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, all of you, for joining, and thank you for listening and sharing. And uh, I'm gonna do this more and
Thank you,
be with you
Nazish.
guys.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Navish.
Lovely
Thanks.
session.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.